So, sorry for being late to the party, but we wanted to kick off the new year by really talking about something that's been weighing on our minds.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is a thank you letter to Matt, Pat, Wooly, and Liam, and a farewell to the Super Best Friends. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jarett.
For more than a decade, we've been watching everything Super Best Friends. You guys have been bringing us content for a third of our lives, or more, about. And we really wanted to talk about what that meant for us, and what that's meant for us growing up and throughout our lives. The fact that we've watched you all grow into semi-functioning adults, and we've had to do the same. The fact that we're here talking to you now, and what all of that, what everything that you have worked for has meant for us.
I mean, I guess I should start things off by letting you guys know that you're basically the whole reason our channel exists, and that we're putting ourselves out on the internet. We really hoped one day that somehow we were gonna make it big as Let's Players on YouTube and get the chance to collaborate with you. Since that'll probably, never happen at this point, or at least not in the way that we pictured, we thought it would be better to record this video to give some heartfelt words to you.
So, here's the letter.
Our history with you guys goes way back. You see, my friends and I were a bunch of awkward, nerdy high schoolers with a love of video games, anime, comics, and really any other geeky thing that you could think of. And in a middle of nowhere state like New Mexico, that's pretty much all that there is to do if you aren't nursing some type of addiction. It was hard to find people who were into the weird mess of things we're into, or at least all of them at once.
I swear, when you guys first started all of this way back in the day, we had an argument, my friends and I. We were so convinced that you guys must live right around the way, somewhere in town, for sure. Somewhere in the state, for sure. Somewhere in our region, at least. No dice, you crazy Canadians. But the reality of shared experience you all drew on had us obsessed from the very first videos. And by first videos, we mean back when YouTube boobs were all over the place, with quality memes peddled by only the shadiest internet alley merchants.
You see, I remembered a shitty cartoon I grew up watching as a boy, obsessed with Street Fighter, where Guile, for some reason, was the main character. He was like the head of a task force, and his sonic booms were able to solve all of his problems.
We're trapped. There's only one way out of here. Sonic Boom!
It was vaguely based off of the terrible movie, which my dumb little child brain loved, and Matt's channel, The Switcher, was there to highlight all the most ridiculous and stupid moments that make me love the show even now.
Oh, this is delicious! Yes! Yes!
Matt's silly compilations of all the bad animations and shenanigans and 90s cartoons that we loved and grew up with really roped us in.
We followed this channel for a long time, enjoying the projects of someone who embraced and loved the hell out of stupid media. The Kirby's Epic Yarn video came out, and I showed it to my friends because I thought it was hilarious, and told everyone, look at this video of that dumb Street Fighter guy playing a game with some friend. Two best friends took off and hooked up with Machinima.
Many moons later, we were introduced to the rest of the crew. As fans of the same kinds of content, it paved the way for more and more of some of the best content on the internet.
With each new video, there was weird inside jokes, references, and interests that came out with lined up just perfectly with what we were into. We could swear that you guys were some weird parallel universe version of us and our friends. I mean, what other fan base likes JoJo, pro wrestling, fighting games in the FGC, Reboot, Resident Evil 2, Edgelords, weird indie games, Suda51 games, Sweary games, or just shitting on David Cage and how terrible of a writer he is. It's really been amazing to enjoy the crazy, wonderful things that you guys love to talk about and all the experiences you've had to share with us.
For me, having fully committed myself to the internet from a young age, growing up in the 90s, watching the entirety of Berserk during a sick week from high school, and being an enormous geek, I've always felt super close to all of you. If you don't mind, I'm going to share a personal story of mine. I've always loved video games, and your content deepened that love, sure, but deeper than that, I feel like you all have been there to help me get past the worst lows in my life. You're always there to lend a smile, a laugh, sharing the feels, whether or not you've been aware of them specifically. You showed me how important my friends are, how much I need those closer connections with others, what it means to have those things in my life and care about them. I lived for a time in northeastern Europe, and then moved to Japan. Each place was accommodating enough to afford me a year's stay for university. It had been a dream of mine, and it was finally coming true. When I first moved out there, I found myself with a laptop, dead cell phone, and no place to stay. I had saved up about $1,000 to rent a place for a couple of months near my school, and was all set up to pay someone before I realized that the person I was trying to pay either didn't exist or was just scamming me. And unfortunately, the money was gone. Rolling with the punches had become a pastime of mine over the weeks, and eventually months, where I'd found myself in the cheapest hostel I could find. In between wondering how I would eat for the next couple of weeks and where to live, I found out that contacting my friends had become much more difficult. I needed an outlet to avoid despair, and I found that in your work. I found a place to stay ultimately in the school's dorms. I got my heart broken a few times, met a few of the most important people in my life, and ultimately traveled the world because you all helped me deal with some of the hardest times I've dealt with in my life. When I moved to Japan, I was much more prepared. I had a place paid for, school plans, and one of my best friends to hang out with. Plus, the magic of the internet allowed me and my friends to stay in contact through TeamSpeak or Skype, Rabbit, or Watch Together, and, of course, lots and lots of video games. We connected with each other also over your videos, often. We would share something, and somebody would make a reference, and one of us hadn't seen the video, and we would all go watch together again. And ultimately, Japan agreed with me in some respects. As a giant weeb, I was in love with most of what I encountered. However, as a student who delved into social issues, I learned quickly about a lot of the issues plaguing individuals in Japan. I became withdrawn, I gained a deep angst at the time, and stopped taking care of myself, only really venturing out of my apartment sometimes for days, for food or occasional random train rides to tiny towns, or for a half-day walk through places I briefly looked up online. The occasional trip to nerd out somewhere eventually gave way to depression, anxiety, and then a complete withdrawal from those around me. I really came back after my friends online convinced me to start watching more of your stuff, and encouraged me to spend more time talking with them instead of in my own head. Without those two pieces, your videos, and my friends, I probably wouldn't be alive to talk about it. And that's as real as it gets for me. And you guys have always been the realist.
There was always a certain authenticity and realness to you guys that brought this all together, and one of the most shocking and nice things to know, looking through the subreddit during this time, is that we're not the only people who feel this way. Somehow you guys created an enormous fan base from people who share what seems to be the most weird and eclectic mix of interests ever, and built one of the most passionate, devoted, and earnest fan bases out there. It's weird, really. When people talk about YouTube, people like to talk about parasocial relationships, the one-sided relationship that a lot of fans feel with the creators that they follow. And it's a funny thing, really, because at the end of the day, we don't really know you personally outside of your videos, and we're complete strangers to you. But nonetheless, we, alongside many other fans, feel a deep connection to you guys and your content because of how much you guys put yourselves out there in that content. By seeing so much of you, a lot of people feel like you could be their friends, or that when they can fall on dark times, they can watch your videos to feel a little less lonely, a little less depressed, and just to feel some semblance of friendship and to be able to have fun. I know that certainly has been the case for me, because throughout the years I've had my share of problems, and whenever I was feeling down, there was a new best friends video to help pick me up. Like Alex, I lived in Japan and felt completely isolated from everybody that I knew, as they were halfway across the world, and I had to navigate a country with a language that I was still learning. But you guys were there to make me feel like I had some friends. When I had a breakup from an extremely toxic relationship and felt like I wasn't close to anyone, you guys were there. And when I was having financial difficulties and didn't know what I was doing with my life, you guys were there. I mean, hell, things got pretty bad at one point, and I was suicidal, and you guys even helped me get through that, even if it was just a few minutes here and there. So I honestly hope you guys watch this video. It really doesn't matter to me if anyone else sees it. But I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say is thank you for all the years of laughs and for creating something unique that we probably won't see again. Thank you for touching our lives, and for those of other fans who've told their stories everywhere on the internet. Thank you for really touching our lives and
our butts, and touching our butts. Sorry.
And those of any other fans that you've influenced as well.
Yeah, checking out all the comments on YouTube and going through the subreddit and reading our story over and over again from everybody else all over the world, and seeing the outpouring of support and love on Twitter has really pushed us to really want to share our story. Thank you for listening.
And thank you for all the content creators you supported, all the artists, YouTubers, big and small, that you've supported. I mean, you guys have had a big impact on a lot of gaming culture, so as you move forward with your individual projects, just know that you have a legacy and influence that you can be proud of.
Definitely. You guys have ended up bringing up dozens of other channels with you. Without your support and without your influence in the community, it just wouldn't be as good as it is. And really, thank you for that. And thank you for inspiring us and our itty bitty Let's Play channel.
Our tiny shitty Let's Play channel.
Our itty bitty shitty gritty Let's Play channel. To the front runners, who we've really gotten to know the best. Thank you, Matt. You Punisher-wielding, comic-drawing, medium maniac. Thank you, Pat. Your perspectives on the world can cut deep in the best way. Thank you, Wooly. You care about the feels more than most, and we feel the same. Last, but certainly not least, thank you to Liam. You haven't really been involved in over a year with the channel, but we particularly identify with your love of obsessing over the depth in the weird, beautiful creations that people produce, be it anime, video games, or simply a quirky conversation. Like we said before, we've always dreamed of making it big and collaborating with you guys on something amazing. Seeing as though that's not going to happen so simply, we wanted to drive it home that you guys are our inspiration. We'll be lucky if we're able to ever capture a fraction of the special magic that you guys brought to everything.
Watching the final video and reading through your guys' tweets and even listening to Wooly's podcast, it's really clear that now it's you guys going through some hard times right now.
Yeah, your personal situation where you guys are sorting out your own differences and dealing with your own stuff and all of that, that's where we want you to understand that we understand and that we're cheering you all on besides.
And honestly, that's more heartbreaking than the end of the channel, honestly. And so, you know, regardless of what the future holds for your solo projects, you know, relationships, anything going forward, you know, I just really hope that you guys find whatever you need to find to move forward with your lives in the best way possible going forward. And just maybe somehow with this video, you know, seeing words and hearing our voices with everything, along with all the other things that fans have said to you, you know, maybe we can repay a little bit of what you've done for us. You know, I'll always cherish Matt and how he got excited about everything, yelling America, as he's acting ridiculous in a game. Wooly being a pie-stealing boxer. The awful version of the theme song with lyrics. Pat's crazy talk about most things. Liam's dry sense of humor and slow burns, and most importantly, Fighterpedia.
Especially Fighterpedia.
And so, I guess this is farewell, best friends.
See you later, Space Cowboys.